Once again, time to get you hooked. Welcome inside another edition of The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns, sponsored by Rise Energy Strips. We've got so much to get into today. Obviously, the big comeback win over Mississippi State for Texas. What an overtime win that was, 45-38. We'll get into the comeback side of it and then what the team had to deal with in the pregame with everything that was going on with the reports outside the team, that outside noise that everybody loves to talk about. In our second segment, Colt McCoy will join us, the legendary Longhorn quarterback. Will hop on with us to talk to Coach and VY, tell some great stories, and then we'll finish up looking ahead to Vanderbilt this weekend, just a couple days away. But let's start with this Mississippi State comeback. Thank you all for being with us. And Coach, VY, of the 10 greatest comebacks in the history of Texas football, you were a part of 6 of them. Good thing, I think. It's a good thing.
The good thing
coach.
is we were part of the comebacks. The bad thing is we had to come back.
Right.
It's like my mother said. I said, Mom, what about that halftime speech? She said, if you'd had a better pregame speech, you wouldn't have had to have the halftime speech.
Of those 10, only one of them came at DKR Texas Memorial, which I think makes it even more amazing. 3 of the 4 against Oklahoma State in that 04 to 07 span. What is it? Let's start with Vince. Vince, in 2004, down 35-7 to Oklahoma State at home. 2005, down 28-9 at the half, and then you throw the fake pass and go 80. But what is it in a comeback that the mentality that you have to overcome what you're going through? How difficult is that for a team to fight through?
It's very difficult because one of the things that how I look at it is I don't want to let my teammates down because of the hard work we put in the offseason, the things that we did to preparation to get to this point, and you go through a hostile environment like Oklahoma State or DKR. I mean, 1 year I think
losing.
Kansas.
Losing at DKR is really that can be hostile.
Yes, exactly. You do not want to lose at home like that. So,
and you mentioned the Kansas one, Vince. That's another great one that 4th and 18, and you scramble, get the first down, then throw to Tony Jeffrey. I mean, you had a ton of them.
No, yeah. Vince, no. Great job, Vince.
I mean, we had some tough games. I mean, and I could honestly say that year I feel like it's similarity to the team that's now, the Texas team now, because we had a bunch of injuries. We had a young wide receiver group. I mean, Tony Jeffrey and Bo Scaife was the oldest guys in the group, and everybody else was young. And, thank God I had a David Thomas that was unbelievable player. But from Lyman Swede to Billy Pittman, Corn Cosby,
Carter.
it was kind of getting involved, but he was more so, still playing baseball. We were just trying to figure him out. But we didn't really have nothing but running game and tight ends. And we had to make it work. And Coach Greg Davis and Coach Brown and the rest of the coaching staff, we had to do what we had to do to win ball games. And we had to lean on Said B a lot and Selvin Young. So I can honestly say that to see where these guys at, I can honestly say we got some similarities because of the fact that we didn't give up on each other. We didn't care what the outside noise was, that we haven't one of our receivers haven't scored a touchdown yet. They were saying so much, but in our case, what they couldn't say was we lost the W. That's that. We figured it out all together to win a ball game, including our defense and special teams. And I think that year our defense and our special teams with Aaron Ross and the rest of the guys taking punt returns and getting us good field advantage, and our field goal kickers helped us out. And when we got to that Michigan game, even though I told Coach I wanted the ball, but Dustin Mangum did a lot for us that whole entire season. So it just goes back to, it's all about that room. It's all about that team. You can't let the outside people, distract you. And to see this team right now, yes, they start off slow, but one thing I like about this team, they don't turn on each other. You don't see anybody fighting and arguing. You don't see none of that type of stuff. You see guys just like, let's just get the job done. And when you have that, you can win ball games like that, like they just did in the last couple of games in a tight situation, and they figured it out. And that's the best thing because they depend on each other and they believe in each other.
Aaron Ross, Ryan Niblett, Dusty
Yes.
Mangum, Mason Shipley. Hello.
Mhm.
That
You got the
seems
key
to work.
point. You got the key
George Shipley,
players
Yeah.
making the key plays at the right time.
If we made Vince commissioner of college football, he would do away with the punts and do away with the kickers. They
Tell him,
wouldn't be
Coach.
part of the factor. He'd say everybody had to go for fourth down.
Mike Leach.
Everybody have to go for two.
Mike Leach, go for every fourth down.
Mike Leach mentality, but Vince just made an unbelievable statement. Play selection's about players. It's not about plays. You got to get the ball to your best players, and Steve did that with Wingo to start the game. He did that with Wisner throughout the game. But that's what you've got to do. Arch running. Arch had a run for a touchdown on a zone read. He had a play action pass for a touchdown. That's what we're finally seeing an identity, but Vince just said it. We didn't have the experienced receivers, but we had great running backs. We had a really good offensive line. We had a great tight end. So you go with players, you don't go with plays, and then you make the plays fit the players.
Down 17 with 10 minutes to go. College football teams had lost 429 straight games. I think everybody thought they cut it to 10. Mississippi State scores 45 seconds later, and you just think it's not their day. But I think that leads into a bigger picture conversation. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, shout out to our producers for getting that stat. Shout out to my guy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
My guy, Steve. I mean,
and the team.
Steve's a superstar too. Could I say that to do that, to have comebacks like Vince's team did, like this team did Saturday, you got to be confident. You got to be in great condition, and you've got to be better than the other team. You got to have great players, and you've got to be disciplined.
Yeah,
I mean that's it. You can't. You got to believe, man. And they just dominated Mississippi State, and Mississippi State hadn't won a conference game in 2 years.
16 straight losses now.
16 straight losses. So they didn't think they could win.
Yeah.
And Texas thought they could win. And Steve and the staff did an amazing job of staying positive and staying upbeat, like we talked about earlier. And I think that's what led to this. 6 of the 7 sacks for the Texas defense in the second half. Mississippi State had minus 31 yards rushing the second half. And you could feel it. It was coming. I told Sally, into the third quarter, even when they squirted that little shuffle pass for the long touchdown, I said, this thing's over.
Yeah.
And then the one that got me
stopped. Those bells stopped a little bit.
No. And when they roughed Arch
Yeah.
on the 4th and 3, that's when I said, now it's over, because that could have lost the game for Texas.
Yeah. Right.
That going for
it's
4th
over
and 3 and not making
it's
it.
over there.
Yeah. There's little time left, and Mississippi State's got confidence now. But that play, teams that are losing, and Jeff Lebby's done a great job, in my estimation, to be this close to this many teams, and they were supposed to be the last team in the SEC. So give him credit for what he's done, but they're still not confident enough and deep enough to go. You don't punt to Nesbitt late in the game when your team's tired. You can't do that, because they're not. Teams don't tackle him in late in the game.
Yeah.
We saw Oklahoma do the same thing. I'm going to punt it in the seats. I'm not going to let him touch it.
Exactly.
And I mean, he keeps telling us, you're stupid to punt to me, so why do we punt to him? I mean, that's just when you saw that won the game. And again, Vince said it, defense, 7 sacks in the game, 6 in the second half, minus 31 yards rushing, totally changed the momentum. Arch scrambling like a Vince to his left and slinging that deep ball.
Oh, beautiful throw.
Down the field was an unbelievable throw. The touchdown in the corner, unbelievable throw as he's getting hit. So you have to be good. You have to be confident to make all this work.
And I think all of this leads into an interesting conversation with this Texas team, because everybody's basically counted them out now for 2 months. I mean, it's been every week has been this team just isn't who they need to be. They aren't. I mean, and we can all sit here and say the same thing. Steve Sarkisian teams have been very disciplined. They've been undisciplined, very uncharacteristically undisciplined this year with penalties, with one player in a play just not making the play he needs to make. Yet they sit here with Matthew Caldwell coming in the game. That's how much they trust each other. Matthew Caldwell comes in and throws the game-winning touchdown as Arch gets hurt. And you start thinking about, okay, this team's 6-2. They've been on the road for 42 days, haven't played a home game in 42 days as they go into Vanderbilt this weekend. And I think there's a bigger perspective of this November as what everybody has said about this team for the last 2 months. Vince, they have every chance to do everything they still want to do. They beat Vanderbilt. They go to Georgia and find a way to win. Now you beat Arkansas at home and you set up A&M for a chance to go to the SEC title game. Do you have that perspective with this team that even the way they've looked through 8 games, 10-2 is still very much on the table? An SEC championship game, a college football playoff spot in the playoff, it's all still very much on the table for this team. Do you feel that way?
I bleed orange. So, I don't see no negative in my eyes, even when, things don't go right and we don't finish a game. I still have, I'm still proud of those young men because it's not easy to play at the University of Texas, let alone play in the SEC. As y'all been watching, the last couple of weeks has been up and down. You don't know who's going to win. So when you have those type of scenarios happening in the SEC, you have to, like what Coach just said, you have to focus on yourself. And it is tremendous hard when you have the media, the outside people talking about you every day, your quarterback every day, your coach bringing in, oh, you're thinking about the NFL. It's so many distractions. But when you have a team that's so dialed in that, hey, it's not about what everybody else is talking about. And one of the things that I love about Coach Brown, when he was coaching us, he always told us, I'm going to take care of the media. You guys take care of what you're supposed to take care of. Go your butt to class, get prepared to play, and go out there and win a ball game. It made it so simple for us. So when you have that as a coaching staff that's going to tell you that, hey, man, don't worry about all that type of stuff. Let's just focus on what we can control. And you can see that message is starting to hit home with the guys because any other team could have folded. But University of Texas, the last couple of games of that, when the whole world is against you, you can see it and believe it that it's all about us. Let's go finish this game. And I am, very proud of each and last one of those young men on that football field because it's not easy when you have the whole world saying all these things about you.
3 of their final 4 games are against top 9 teams nationally, but it's all still on the table. That's the thing I can't get over is they're still there.
Yeah, they've overcome the curse of being number 1 in the country in preseason.
Right.
When it doesn't matter.
Right.
So whoever that group that got in that meeting said, let's make them number 1. What an awful day that was for Texas. But they're so lucky to have 3 top 10 teams left. Georgia can be beaten. They've struggled some. Vanderbilt's had really close games. They're having a miracle year at this point. And A&M's going to be at DKR, and that's always an emotional game. You got to be impressed with A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I thought going to LSU might end them up, and I thought it might be the end of their little run here. And oh my gosh!
And it was the end of Brian Kelly.
It was the end of Brian Kelly. Yeah. Don't lose anymore, coaches. That's just part of it. But it's I still look at if this team has the happy ending that all of us want for them, they're going to be Ohio State last year.
Yeah, I'm just
2
about
losses.
to say that.
Lose to Michigan, want the coach fired. Everything's awful. This is terrible. Oh, my gosh, we won the national championship. What a great coach he is. I hope he doesn't leave. I hope he doesn't go to the pros. That's the craziness about no patience, overreaction, and what we've got now with social media.
No doubt. I just think there's no question. Vince, I want to get your take on this as a player, and then obviously Coach Brown as a coach. But before the game, the report comes out from Diana Rossini that Steve Sarkisian would be listening, would be interested in NFL jobs, specifically the Tennessee Titans. Sark comes out and his agency comes out and says none of it's absolutely ridiculous. It's untrue. I think as a coach, you'd be silly to not have all of your options always open. I don't think there's this like I'm going to pin myself down because the school could turn on you at any point. Like we've kind of seen this happen in college football this year with James Franklin and Brian Kelly and Billy Napier and some of these guys.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
It's just not smart. I did that, and it's not smart. You gotta take care of yourself.
Right. I mean,
everybody says you're not being loyal. No, you're not being loyal if you don't take care of you and your family.
And I think it's such a great point. But Vince, to the players' point, if this is an hour before kickoff and it doesn't get back to the players, okay. This is 4 or 5 hours before kickoffs with social media. Somebody's going to see it. That starts spreading through the team. You're trying to focus on winning a game in Starkville, and instead you've got to worry about now my coach is leaving for the NFL. Is it different today because of the transfer portal, and it's just what players go through too? If they play a good game, their agency's gonna hear something. What are your thoughts as a player? What that would be like before a game that you're trying to focus in on, and something like that happens?
Yeah, it'll be definitely a distraction for sure because of the fact of how much you believe in your coach, Uh, and, you put that helmet on not only just for, your institution, but and your teammates, but you also have so much faith and you want to play hard for your coach because he gave you opportunity. Um, but to me, when you have coaches like Coach Brown and Coach Stark, if that was to occur, I believe that these guys would just tell us, "Hey guys, this was going on. I want to give you guys a heads up. Don't let that be a distraction, and just go play your game." These were the type of coaches that I liked. What I liked about Coach Brown, what I like about Coach Andy Reid. If something was going on, they're going to talk to you, and they're going to keep it in the house. It's nobody else's business. Things happen like you guys just said. You got to take care of your family. You got to do what you got to do, but in the same time, for a coach to be loyal and tell you that so you don't have to hear it from someone else. Um, I believe that's what coach would have done for us. But if like with the stuff that's going on now, it's like it's way out of the coaches and the players' control. People are just talking too much and leaking stuff every day, all day. And it's not fair to the team, to the coach, to everybody. It's not fair anymore. So now you gotta be to a point like, you gotta just like focus again, go back to us. You gotta focus on us, the ultimate goal. Okay, we'll deal with the rest of the stuff when that stuff occurs at the end of the season. But right now, we in season. We got to continue to focus on what our ultimate goal was when we stepped out on that practice field when in spring. So that's my point of view on that type of stuff. But I just think that, these things are just getting our way out of hand and they trying to make everything a distraction for these young men and coaching staff. So just got to just continue to focus on the ultimate goal.
Steve Sarkisian's been very open and very vulnerable with all of his players throughout his tenure here. That's one of the things he's talked about. I think that's why his players are very receptive to him. You've lived this as a head coach in the last 4 years with this turn toward transfer portal and players trying to figure out, am I going to stay here? Am I going to go somewhere else next year? What's the difficulty as a coach in that situation, but more in general of the reality and the realistics of what college football is today?
I think the biggest key is what Vince just said. If you have a player-led team, you go to the leaders and say, tell them we're good. Let's go beat Mississippi State. There's nothing to this. And it goes away because Vince believes me. Arch and Michael Taft believe, all the guys believe Sark. So they go and say, we're good. Let's go play. It's just media. Sally and I got in an argument with the Lost Dots when I first got here. And it was over money. Not for me, but it was for the building. I thought I was told something. I didn't get it. So DeLoss and I had an argument. And Sally said, you got to understand, DeLoss's job's different than yours. He's got budget. You got winning games and taking care of the players. So they're totally different jobs. So don't expect him to understand your job. He doesn't. He's got his. Well, the media's job is different than the coach's job. The agent's job is different from the coach's and the media's job.
Sure.
And the agent is supposed to, and I'm not saying that Jimmy Sexton did this for Steve, but the agent is the one that's constantly throwing out there. It might be sitting at a bar one night and saying, yeah, well, Steve might be interested in pros one day. And then your headlines the next day. That's what you get. But now the players have agents in their ear about leaving. Hey, I just got a call from this school and they want to offer you this much at the end of the year. Oh, good. Let's talk about it. The fact that administrations are firing coaches after 4 games, that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on any coach that's winning because he has to go to his press conference and say, "Hey, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not interested." I thought John Summerall did a great job this week saying, "We'll talk about that at the end of the year. Let's go win the games. We got a big game this weekend. Come on." And really and truly, what coaches are saying all over the country, players, you're talking to people through your agents. Assistant coaches, you're talking to people through your agents. I'm talking to people through my agents. So let's just all understand that's what it is. We'll figure out at the end of the year. Everybody's going to do what's best for them, and we'll go for it. But for right now, this week, we're all in this room trying to win this game. And I've always said the more we win, the better off everybody is. So regardless of those rumors, go win the game. Because your negotiating power goes up as a player now. If you play good and put good stuff on tape. That's it.
Right.
Because people are watching you. They're watching everybody. But I do think that I was in the media for 5 years. You got to find stuff. You got to get people's attention. You got to get people to look at you. You're not worried about the coach. You're not worried about the players. You're not worried about the game. Your job is to get attention. The agent's job is to put you in a better position. So all of that is just normal to me now. When I see it, I say, somebody probably made a comment at a bar. Somebody probably said a little something. Maybe somebody.
Or somebody in that inner circle said one thing to somebody else, and that got back to a reporter or whatever, and then turns into something bigger.
After our first year here, I was offered the Cleveland Browns job. I don't even think it ever made the preps. I mean, I don't even think it. I talked to a couple other pro teams when I was at North Carolina. Nobody ever even knew it. They didn't even know it. And now, like the law said, you don't have to say it about Texas football. If you think it, it's public. And that's about how things are.
Is it fair to say that it's maybe a little easier for some of the blue bloods to dial in as a team as it is maybe to a middle-of-the-pack Big Ten school or something like that, where those guys are looking for the opportunities at the bigger schools, but the guys maybe at Texas are, we can dial in now because I know if I play better, maybe I'm going to get paid more here, and then if it comes down to it, maybe I go somewhere else. Is that a fair thought? Like, did you deal with that at North Carolina, where it was more like some of those guys were looking to not bigger. North Carolina's obviously
looking for better
school,
deals.
Yeah, a better deal. That's a good way.
Everybody's looking for a better deal.
Right.
What I always thought, and Vince is a great example. I always ask the coaches and the players to be loyal to your school while you're here. And then when you leave, just say nice things because you were here. But Vince got a huge offer to be a number 1 draft choice, and he and I had a great discussion. In fact, Vince came and said, what would you do if you were my son? I said, my son's a little short and slow, so it's not ever going to happen. I'm not going to have that decision to make. And Vince, and we'll just throw out a figure. It doesn't matter what it was. But if Vince was going to make $20 million for leaving, I think my conversation with him was, you'll have more fun here. We'll win another national championship. You'll win the Heisman. But you lose that $20 million if you get hurt. And you say, well, they've got insurance. Well, insurance is for $5 million, and that's if he can't play again.
Right.
So you get just well enough that you lose your $20 million. So in my mind, without question, if I was honest with Vince, it was best for him to leave for him. Now, people say he was selfish. No, I think he was smart.
Yeah.
Because he did everything right here, and he's still loyal to the University of Texas. So the coach at the end of the year, if he's done everything for that school and he does get a better offer, he better take it. And it just doesn't mean money. It means better fit, better commitment, because most of these jobs have more of an expectation than they do commitment. Everybody says, well, we should win it all. Well, why? And Sally had a little theory. She'd go back and look 20 years before you get to this school. How many games have they won on the average? That's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who they want to be. But those are facts. That's who they are.
A great point with Coach.
Yeah.
But what you said, though, is like, when you there with that team, you give it all you got. That's the message right there. That, when me and Coach was at the University of Texas, we gave it all we got.
Every minute of every
day.
And that's what's driving you nuts, right, Vince? But that's what's driving you nuts right now, right? I mean, that's some of the things that are really frustrating you.
These young men, young ladies they're not giving it all they got. They get distracted so fast by that check. And Coach just said it. Always make sure your family good, but are you doing it enough to earn more, to get more? You can get even more when you giving it all you got. That's what I love that I'm not seeing anymore, that kids are getting easily distracted and put into another way. If I was some of these young kids that was at some of these schools like Cincinnati that's doing good, Ruck, even though I can, but Imma still work my butt off and work and get what I deserve. Not let somebody just come in my ear and be like, "Well, I have this over here." But what if I go to another school and I gotta play and outbeat somebody else? You still ain't made the team yet, to me.
But but
Yeah.
Vince, think about this. You had some hard days early.
Yes.
You redshirted. I'm sure you didn't want to lose that Oklahoma game, the Mississippi or the Missouri game. We bench you at halftime. In modern day reality, Vince could have walked out there and quit. I'm not putting up with this. I can transfer. We're talking about our backup quarterback at Texas has been to 4 schools. Vince wasn't going to transfer. He'd think about it. He'd get mad. But right now, the environment is that it's easier to quit than it is compete.
Correct.
And I think that's very unhealthy for these young athletes now in college sports. I just don't like it. It's too easy to quit. It's too easy to give up. And that's a mindset for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Well, the great values of sports are going away for greed and for the ability to want to just leave. I don't like him. He's not letting me play. Earn the right.
Exactly.
Earn the right to
Earn the
play.
right.
Vince earned the right to play at the University of Texas, and he earned the right to keep that, and he did the same in the NFL. And we're losing some of that now. They're not starting me. Agent, third party, mom, dad, grandma, granddad, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm not putting up with this. They're being unfair. And then you go like last year. We started the season with an offensive line coach we thought might die. The first day we reported, he texted me and said, "I'm in the hospital. I've got some medical issues," and he was touch and go. So those are distractions. And then we have a player on our team with cancer. He ends up dying, but he's sick, and you can see him progressively getting worse. We had an awful game. We had 8 turnovers in a game. Got killed by James Madison. That's a distraction. Everybody said you're going to be fired. So the wonderful thing about a team is you bring everybody together and say, okay, we got a lot of stuff going on. Only thing that matters is us. Let's get back together. Let's get this thing fixed. You seniors, you don't have another year. So let's do it. It always frustrates me when the fans get mad and want the coach fired or everybody's happy. James Franklin's fired. You better get somebody better than him. We're glad Brian Kelly's gone. We just paid $53 million to get him gone. Who's going to be better? There is pressure on those folks to get somebody better. And James Franklin could have won a national championship this year with a bounce or two. I just looked at Clark Lee's record at Vanderbilt, and we're all excited. He's 23-34. Vanderbilt was patient enough to leave him alone till he had a chance to make it. I was 2-20. Brett McMurphy called me the other day and said, "Would you be fired today?" I said, "Oh, my God." After a year and a half, I wouldn't have made the second year. And Frank Beamer, I remember them saying, "You're going to have to win 5 to keep your game, keep your job next year." And here's 2 guys in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So it's just craziness out there right now.
And these are the realities of college football across the board today. So different than what they were 20 years ago when you guys were winning the national championship. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we've got the other legendary quarterback joining the show. It's Colt McCoy coming up. This is the Stampede. Babyface Colt. I love that you call him that. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns, sponsored by Rise Energy Strips. Colt McCoy next.
Game days are a marathon. Tailgates in the morning, kickoff in the afternoon, and celebrations that can stretch late into the night. You need energy you can count on without the sugar crash or jitters.
These aren't your typical energy drinks. Rise Energy Strips give you clean, natural energy you can carry in your pocket. No cans, no spills, no hassle.
And no waiting around wondering, when it's going to kick in.
Exactly. Each strip has 50 milligrams of caffeine from natural sources, plus vitamin B12, L-theanine, and electrolytes, all from natural ingredients. They dissolve under your tongue, so they work up to 5 times faster and are 10 times more efficient than pills or energy drinks. 0 sugar, 0 calories, and the convenience to keep them anywhere in your pocket, wallet, or gym bag, so you've always got clean, natural energy when you need it.
Yeah, I could have used these back in my playing days. It would have saved me from carrying around a can like it's part of my uniform. With these, pop a strip, fill it fast, and you ready to roll. That's a winning game plan.
And now you can try them yourself. Get 25% off your first order at riseup.com/stampede.
That's RIIZEUP.com/stampede. Rise Energy Strips. Smart, simple, and built for the long game.
Breakfast might be the most important choice you make all day. That's because with Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast, you can mix and match your very own perfect pairing of our delicious morning favorites. With this breakfast deal, the choice is all yours, not someone else's. And isn't that how it should be? It's your breakfast after all, not Martha's. She can pick her own breakfast. This one's all for you.
No matter what you choose, from our sausage biscuit with that grilled breakfast sausage or the egg and cheese biscuit with fresh cracked grade A egg and melty American cheese on a fluffy buttermilk biscuit, a small size of perfectly seasoned potatoes, or a medium hot coffee to power you through the morning, all you got to do is pick your ideal morning pair.
You really can't lose because you're the one calling the shots. The choice is all yours.
Wake up to Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast just the way you want it. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. No substitutions, not valid in a combo, single item at regular price. Support for the Stampede comes from Google. Every August, we talk about new rule changes coming to college football. But now that we're in the middle of the season, it's hard to follow the real impact those rules are having on the games. For instance, this season was big on the crackdown of fake injuries. But with AI mode in Google search, you can now just type in, how have this year's college football rule changes impacted the season so far? And AI mode will pull together the key details and give you a summarized AI-powered response. It's perfect for those big, nuanced questions that don't have one simple answer.
It doesn't end there. Let's say you want to keep going deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a whole new search. You can ask direct follow-ups to learn more about specifics and explore related ideas. So whether you're wondering about a complex scheme, a new rule, or how the transfer portal works, with AI mode, you can just ask Google.
Welcome back to the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns, sponsored by Rise Energy Strips, and we have a wonderful second block prepared. Look at this guy. How about this? The all-time leading passer in 2A football at the state of Texas.
Let's go.
Won,
That's a good one.
That's the best one. That's the best one. Never won less than 10 games as a quarterback at Texas. Left Texas as the all-time winningest college quarterback at 45-8. Had a 13-year NFL career. Went into the media for 1 year and said, heck no, I'm done. I don't want any part of this. You guys are ridiculous.
I'm going to go make a whole lot of money in real estate.
It's a smart way to go. It is the Longhorn legendary quarterback, Colt McCoy. Colt, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time.
You bet, man. I'm so glad to be on here talking to you guys, talking Texas football, reliving some stories, being on with one of my favorites in the whole world, Coach Brown.
Well, you know, I love you, and Colt's like a family member, and Vince will be on here in a minute. And these two guys are two of the best ever play. Both of them took us to national championship games. If this one hadn't had the unfortunate injury, we would have won another one. We were going to beat Alabama that day because he was so locked in and zoomed in. And
shush, Alabama fans, you were going to lose that game.
Yes, you were. And they say, well, just shut up. It's facts. I mean, that is easy. Colt, tell me why you were so good. What made you, for young quarterbacks, young players?
I'm still trying to figure out. Yeah, keep going.
What separated you from other people?
I'm just, people ask me all the time, how I got to UT. And I'm like, you need to go ask Coach Brown. He took a flyer on me. I played, I was one classification above 6-man football, and he saw something in me and gave me a chance to come play. And Coach Brown was very clear to me from the very beginning, like, nothing here is ever going to be given to you. Everything's going to be earned. And I feel like, just the opportunity alone to come to Texas. I don't know if you guys know, but I went to a 1-day football camp at the University of Texas. It was, end of my junior year, and Texas had offered a couple other quarterbacks in my class, Mark Sanchez, Ryan Perlew, and they were at that 1-day camp, and I got a flyer in the mail and said, "Hey, come to this camp." And so I had also qualified for the regional track meet in the high hurdles, and it was on the same day. And so my dad let me kind of choose at that point what I should do, and I was like, "Well, it's the University of Texas. I mean, I don't think there's really a chance for me to go, but I'm gonna go do my best and see if there is an opportunity here." And so we woke up early, drove to Texas. They had all the recruits on the big field, the Holy Grail, the DKR, and a few of us other ones on the turf field or out on the Dennis fields. And by the end of the day, I had worked my way up to that camp, and with those guys.
2,000 campers.
Yeah. There's thousands of campers, and I was getting lost in the shuffle, but I threw the ball decent enough, I guess, to move over here to the main field, and had a good day. Day with the camp was over. I'm walking out to my car. I'm pretty sure it was Cleve that just, "Hey, you guys come inside. Coach Brown wants to meet you." I look at my dad. We woke up early and from West Texas and driven over. We were going to drive back home, and I get to go inside and sit down with Coach Brown and Miss Sally. I didn't know him. And I remember Coach Brown was like, "Okay, where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm from Buffalo Gap, Texas." And he was like, "Okay, I know Texas, but I'm really, let's pull up a map. Miss Sally, let's pull up a map. Let's see where Buffalo Gap is."
It wasn't on there.
And so we just, barely. We started talking. My dad was my football coach, and we had a great time. And we drive back and get in the truck, and I'm on my way home with my dad, and let's call it 5:00. And as soon as I got in the truck, I told my dad, I was like, "Dad, like I don't know if there'll ever be an opportunity for me to go to the University of Texas, and I'm not sure I could even play there, but I want to if that's an opportunity." And I remember to this day, my dad sitting there driving, he kind of chuckled and he goes, "Yeah, son, you and every other kid in this state." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I would love to do this." And long story short, Coach Brown, sends me a FedEx letter with a handwritten note. "Loved meeting you. Loved your dad. Loved your family. I want you to come play football at the University of Texas." It changed my life. And
Mine too.
I will forever be grateful for that. So I think for me as a very, part of my DNA is I'm very loyal. And because of that, and because I just knew when I got to Texas, I may not ever have a chance. I may end up playing safety someday if I can't figure out quarterback. I don't know. But Coach Brown gave me an opportunity. And not only did he give me an opportunity, he gave a little boy from West Texas who I had grown up in West Texas. And I've seen all these good athletes out here. And I think there's still plenty of good athletes out there. But somehow I got to be the one that was selected to go to the University of Texas. And I always kept that in my back pocket. I never forgot about that. And so I think from the very beginning, coming in with that attitude and that mindset that I just need a chance. I'm gonna go to this football camp. I just need a chance. I'm gonna go to the University of Texas. Just give me a chance. And I think that there were so many people that played a part in that, and so many people that prayed for me, and so many people that pulled for me and gave me advice. And it wasn't just me. I worked really hard. And I was surrounded by great coaches and great teammates. But nobody's ever going to get the chance to play 4 years again. Not in the state of college football that we're in right now. It's like how I count my blessings every day that I had that chance.
And Colt, let me tell you, so it'll help other young people, why I took you. You wanted to come. You didn't worry about the other great quarterbacks we were recruiting. Didn't even care.
Did not care.
Dad did, but you didn't at all. And then you had tremendous grades. You were a 4-point student. You were a great player in basketball, golf, and football, and winning championships in all three, and had a chance to go to state championships and win in all three. and you were very humble, and you were a tremendous leader and very accurate as a thrower and impeccable integrity. So for you young ones out there, don't think that stuff doesn't matter. It does matter. And especially when somebody wants to come. All right, second question from me. You've had a wonderful life after football, and a lot of that because of you, but some of that because of your connections at the University of Texas. NIL right now for you is all the support and boosters and relationships that you've gotten, which isn't happening at most of the schools anymore. It's still happening at Texas. What about the NIL era for you? What are you feeling? What are you seeing as you sit out there and think about your kids who are really good athletes someday being recruited?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like I don't, I know what it was like for us. I mean, we had, and I don't want to say this in a negative way because I really think it was a positive. We had to learn time management. We had to learn budgeting. We got 1 meal a day on campus, and anytime that the school could provide us anything extra, I love road trips. You know, I love road trips because we ate like crazy. Right, I wasn't eating McDonald's every night. Right,
a lot of snacks.
A lot of snacks, and so I think that really helped make me who I am. Coach Brown always mentioned, told us like, get your degree. Like the network here at the University of Texas, you handle yourself the right way, you play football the right way. You walk with character and you walk with integrity and you do things the right way all the time. Like those are the things that are going to pay off further on in your life. And I call me naive, but I believed in that 100%. And so, I don't want to call it a struggle because I was at the University of Texas. That's not a struggle, but you do have to learn a bunch of things. You're not with your mom and dad anymore. You're not getting handouts and you're figuring it out. And nowadays, these guys are making millions of dollars. I mean, some of these guys are making more money than what they'll ever make in the NFL. It's not even close. And I love that players get paid. I think more than anything, though, it's very much more a corporate culture than what it was when I was in school. It was like I'm with my boys. This is my team. Like Coach Brown may ream this guy inside out and backwards today, but he's not going anywhere. Like he's one of us. Like I'm gonna be with him for the next 4 years. He may do it to me, and that was my team. That's my friends. That's my long term. Those are all still my friends.
And obviously, I never yelled at anybody.
No, never.
Yeah, never.
And so, but that's different. Nowadays it's like a guy could play 6 games. He's going to transfer here. He may play 1 year here. Most of these guys that get drafted. Look at the quarterbacks from the last 4 years in the draft. Nobody played at one school. Nobody. They all transferred, right? So it's just different. And I'm not saying that that's a negative thing. I'm not saying I have the answers. What I'm saying is that, I was very appreciative for what I got to do from the university, what it provided for me. I ended up playing 14 years in the NFL. I mean, never dreamed that. I mean, maybe I did dream it, but never thought that could be possible. And now as I've transitioned and I've got 4 young kids and my wife's amazing. We've moved back to Texas. I've started my own business, being able to tap into those resources and call people that maybe I don't know, but I know they watch me play, or I know they're big UT fans, and now I'm a UT fan, and have that connection and relationship, and use that, and it's growing. Like there is so much from that standpoint that I can't even tell you how thankful I am for that. It's a wonderful thing.
Texas just had one of the best comebacks in school history. Down late in the fourth quarter. You had a number of those. You had a huge comeback at Texas Tech, a huge comeback at Oklahoma State, and usually they're on the road. What does it take to come back, and why did you and your teams have the ability to come back in such tough atmospheres on the road?
Yeah. Listen, I mean, when we were in school, you guys remember this, but the Big 12 was awesome. There were 7 or 8 teams in the top 15 every year. There was no easy place to play except Floyd Casey Stadium, maybe. Bears weren't very good back then. But you go to Oklahoma State.
You just said that for Rachel, didn't you, Cole?
You go to
you
Texas
just want to get
Tech.
on Rachel.
You go, always. You go to Nebraska. You go to Missouri. Like these teams are, you sleepwalk into these stadiums, you're going to get beat. I think one of the biggest blessings for me was that I redshirted. Coach Brown's talking about these young guys, pay attention, listen. There's nothing wrong with redshirting. In fact, it was the best thing that probably ever happened to me. I wasn't ready to play. Coach Brown knew I wasn't ready to play. I'm a competitor. You want to play. But that year was so valuable for me, not from as much, physically, yes, very valuable. I spent more time with Coach Madden and Mad Dog Madden than I ever wanted to, but it paid off. I also got to be on the sidelines to every game. Coach Brown traveled me. I got to watch Vince Young lead a comeback at Oklahoma State, down 20 or 21 or 28, whatever it was, and like see the sidelines, hear the coaching points, hear the halftime speech, see the team come together and go figure out a way to win. We ultimately won the national championship. That was so valuable. So whenever I got in those situations, most of the reasons why we were in comeback situations because it's my fault. I threw a pick or I fumbled or I did something stupid, and it's like I got to dig a little deeper and figure this out. We're too good to lose this game. And so that experience of seeing someone else do it really helped me. I knew I was never going to be Vince Young ever. Like I can't run like the wind. I can't move like him. I'm not 6'5" and 240 pounds. Like, what's my edge? So all that time, I'm my redshirt year. I'm figuring out, well, how would I do it? What would it look like? Can I do that even? Can I figure this out? I don't know if I can. I had to, mentally like figure out myself. And so, when I was put in those situations, having seen it, having heard it, having experienced it, that really, really helped me. And I think we had a bond from a coaching staff and a team that we all believed all the time. And we never pointed fingers. And I made it real clear to everybody, if you want to point fingers, like point it at me. It's probably my fault. Right? I put us in this situation. Trust me, I'm gonna figure it out. And most of the times we did. I mean, we had big comebacks on the road, Oklahoma State. My freshman year at Texas Tech, even in the Fiesta Bowl against Ohio State. I mean, you're down. You got a couple minutes left to go win the game, right? We felt like we should have been in the national championship. We're certainly not going to lose this game, right? And so just those things and that belief, started from the top with Coach Brown, and it filtered all the way down to the water boys on the sidelines. Everybody believed, and you don't ever want to have to live in that world all the time. But when you get put in that situation, I didn't want anybody else touching the ball. I was ready. I wanted that. That's the most fun situations you can possibly be in if you figure it out in the end.
Okay, 2 quick stories. You're young. Everybody thought you should have gone to Texas Tech anyway. All your buddies, your teammates, and your friends are at Texas Tech. What about walking in that stadium for the first time?
Yeah, you remember this. We were playing Texas Tech. If you graduated from my high school and you wanted to go to college, you went right down the road to go to Texas Tech. It's a great school. I mean, I have so many friends that went to Tech. But we were going
in
there.
Fact,
in 2008.
A high school girlfriend, by the way.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They all went to Tech. I went to Texas. But 2008, we're number 1 in the country. We're kind of on a run. Texas Tech was good. They were a top 5 team, maybe 3, something like that. But we got there 3 hours before a game. So for the 8 o'clock primetime game, we're walking in at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and the entire student section at Texas Tech is full, blackout. Everybody's like throwing stuff at you. I'm walking through, and like I'm sitting in a restaurant or walking around, people call your name. Like sometimes you don't recognize that voice, but sometimes you're in a crowd and you hear somebody say Colt, and you kind of know like, oh wow, I know that voice. I turn around, it's like 3 or 4 of my old high school teammates sitting on the front row, fading the side of the stadium, and they're like, you suck, Colt, we're gonna kill you now, you suck. And I'm like, hey, like we grew up together, like we're boys. What are you talking about? And they're kind of smiling, smirking just because everybody's around there. I was like, okay, like, but that kind of stuff gets you fired up. That rivalry back then, I mean, everybody was good and everybody wanted a piece of you, and everybody in that stadium wanted to go to Texas. Every player on that team wanted to go to Texas. Same way with Oklahoma State. It didn't matter. And so, like, there was a target on our back all the time, and our job was to, win the state championship, but win these games. We slipped up that night. But you want to talk about comebacks? That was a great comeback too. We just scored a little bit too early.
Yeah, no question. And those teams and fans, they hate Texas more than they like themselves. I mean, that's 100%. They just hate Texas so much. There's another one that happened. We play at Central Florida. We actually opened their stadium, and that was a mistake with ESPN. And that was so loud and rowdy. And we're way ahead, and then we went to sleep, and it rained, and it's hot, and there's a delay. And so they come back. And there's a point in the game where we're not playing very well, and Soulja Boy, the song, comes on, and our whole team, I don't know about you, whole team on the sideline was doing the Soulja Boy dance. And I got so mad.
I remember
I
this
lost.
like it was yesterday.
I said, you can dance, you can't play, but you can dance. We won the dance contest, but you didn't play. You let them get back in the game, do it. So I'm so smart. And I'm such an innovator that we're at Oklahoma State. I'm worried about us being a little flat. And so I worked for 3 weeks on doing the Soulja Boy dance.
The Soulja Boy dance.
I mean, I got it down, man. I got it. And I've worked it, and Sally's laughing at me, and I didn't tell anybody. So I put my coaching clothes on. This is pregame speech at Oklahoma State. I ripped them off. I said, you all aren't ready to play. Yeah, I'm worried about this. You got to pick it up. You got to be focused. So I'm going to help you. I ripped my clothes off. I had camouflage under it. I did the Soulja Boy dance. Well, we go out and go down 35-14 going into the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And that might have been the best comeback ever, because between you and Jamal Charles, we came back and scored 38-35. And they turned the scoreboard off right at the end of the game so we could make sure we didn't have any pictures.
We didn't have to go to overtime. We figured it out. Yeah. I remember the Central Florida game like it was yesterday. There's 2 minutes left in that game, and I basically have to throw Jordan a touchdown late for us to win. When there's like a TV timeout in opening day stadium at Central Florida, that place was rocking. I mean, rocking. There was
when we got off the bus.
There was
being cussed.
Yes.
We've never been cussed like that.
Yeah. And then there's 2 or 3 rain delays. So you're on and off the field. And they had a running back, Kevin Smith, who had rushed for a couple 1,000 yards. Like he was an all-American guy. Like it was a bad environment to walk into if you weren't ready to play. And we sleepwalked in there. Not only that, our buses broke down.
The plane was canceled and we had to wait 3 hours on the plane. When we got there, 2 of the buses broke down, so we had to stack everybody on 2 buses instead of 4.
We had to double and triple up in the 2 buses to get everyone there. I rode in the sheriff's car, who was like our kind of leading the buses to the stadium. I'm sitting front seat in the sheriff. I mean, it was just a lot going on. We get down and there's 2 minutes left. We're down. I gotta go score. And I turn around the TV timeout, and not only were all of our team doing the Soulja Boy, they were turned around facing the stadium doing the Soulja Boy. I mean, looking up in the crowd and just like, huh. And I'm like, I had this point, I'm like, guys, like we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So somehow we figure out we go down to score, we win, we walk out of the stadium. We get back in the team meeting on Sunday. We get back to there was a lot of distractions that game. I remember Coach Brown normally walks through the front and comes up on stage in our old team meeting room for football. And this time he came from the back. And I remember he opens it up. Everybody kind of starts getting quiet. It's Coach Brown. And the door kind of slams. And Coach Brown doesn't say anything. I mean, we just won, remember? And he finally gets up to the front. He has all his notes. He says, "Men, listen up." He said, "Oh, a win is a win." He said, "But I'm so sick and tired of these emails I'm getting from alumni and watching you guys play sorry yesterday. And not only that, we are never, ever going to sing Crank That Soulja Boy ever again. Ever. Never, ever. It's not a good look for us. It's not a good look for you. You weren't focused. We had to come from behind to beat a sorry team at Central Florida. Like, this is unacceptable." And I remember thinking, like, man, he's right. I would turn around and watch the whole team doing this. And afterwards,
you didn't do it, Colt. You didn't do it.
Listen, maybe
We
in the
started
shower
checking
after
the
the game,
sideline
maybe in the
video.
shower. But
We've still got sideline video. Bianco can get us the sideline video.
Coach Brown showed the video for everybody. And of course, like when Coach Brown leaves, like, we got to go, do our corrections on the field. But when we're all going to team dinner Sunday night, everybody's chuffling and giggling. Like, did you hear Coach Brown? I was talking about crank that Soulja Boy. So lead up into Oklahoma State. That's a big game. This primetime game is Halloween. Like, we need this one. Or it wasn't Halloween. It was a day game, but it was, you go into that environment not ready to play. Like, it's a tough place. They're right on top of you. And Coach Brown walks in and in the meeting, and things were a little flat, and he had all his military garb on underneath it. He was telling us, you got to, here's the keys to the game. You got to, with no turnovers. Colt, don't turn the ball over. Defense, go get us some turnovers. Start fast. And then just rips his clothes off and tells John Bianco, cue the music. And Coach Brown's up there singing crank this. I mean, we walked out of there like, let's stick and go. Like, this is going to be awesome.
And then it was 35-14.
Yeah, I did say at halftime, never do that dance again. It didn't help me at Central Florida, and it darn sure didn't help me at
we figured it out.
Jamal Charles, 18-yard touchdown, 75-yard touchdown. Vondrell McGee gets in the end zone, and Ryan Bailey kicks the 40-yard game winner to win that one, 38-35. Colt, I wanted to ask you,
amazing.
There's so much talk about Arch Manning and everything that's gone into this season, and I know there's all the outside hype and all the extra stuff that happens, but in terms of football, your first season, you opened against North Texas and started to get a little comfortable. Then you play Ohio State. Your numbers, if you go back and look, and there are a lot of quarterbacks you can do this with. You go back and look at your numbers, your first 6 games of collegiate football, they weren't great. Like, you weren't throwing for 300, 400 yards. You weren't throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns. And Arch kind of went through that in the early part of this season. Is it okay to let a guy grow a little bit? Like, are we past that now where you just have to come in and be freshman of the year, and if your career doesn't go the right way, then you're just done. You're the worst player ever. I mean, can you take us through what it took for you to develop at the college level? Because I think there's this mentality that Arch was supposed to come in and be 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every game in game 1. And when he wasn't, he's the worst player we've ever seen, the biggest flop, all those things people talked about. What is it that it takes to go in your first year of college football and understand what it takes to become a better player and to eventually develop into who you're going to be?
And
of
Colt
course.
followed a national championship team and Ben Chung.
Right.
As a
exactly.
redshirt freshman.
Exactly. There's a lot of similarities there. Yeah, listen, Arch has all the tools to be a great quarterback. I mean, he can make all the throws. He's extremely smart and bright. He's a great leader. His teammates love him. We all know that he can do that. But there's 90% of this game is right here. It's mental. And there is a growth process that happens when you are the guy, and when you take the reins, and when you're in control, and you got the football in your hands every play. And there's things you're going to see that you hadn't seen before, and there's those you're going to miss, and there's mistakes you're going to make. And if you look at the way that I came into the University of Texas, I'm not comparing him to me. I think he could be much better than me. Nobody knew who I was. Coach Brown knew. Not very many people did. Right? The whole world knows who Arch Manning is. It's a very different dynamic here. Yeah, he sat in, for a couple years just like I did. But like there's an ability for us as fans in our program and just the media and college football in general to just see his last name, see that heritage, and just kind of make him, king of the castle right away. Wherein, if you had asked Coach Brown and I before the season started, we'd be like, well, I mean, maybe, maybe he's going to go light it up and beat Ohio State on the road and throw for 500 yards, and he's the greatest of all time. But I don't think we believe that. I think we were like, hey, look, like at some point he's going to throw a pick, he's going to miss a throw, he's going to make a turnover, bad decision. Like those are going to happen. And I think you're seeing just the growth process of a young quarterback playing on a really high stage and high level, and he's working through it. And I thought last week in the second half he played awesome, right? Like that's what you want to see. You get stuck behind, and you made some mistakes. We dropped some balls early, made some bad throws, but like ultimately you figured it out. And the key to all this is like everyone believes in him. Watch the teammates, watch the sideline, watch everybody like have each other's back. Like Arch makes a pick, the defense is running out of the field like, we got you, dude. It's fine. We get it. Everybody knows. The team knows, right? He's going to be all right. But it is a journey. It is a process, I remember thinking the world was going to come to an end when I lost to Ohio State, my second game in my career. I didn't want to get out of bed.
Me too.
I couldn't sleep. I was like, this is it. I suck. I'm over. Like, like, if I listened to everybody in the whole world, have been like, put the next guy in. This is over with. Like, he's terrible. We've seen enough. Coach Brown didn't do that. Right? We rallied the troops. We figured it out. We go start winning games and make some comebacks. But it's a growth process. It's a journey. And if there's anybody that believes in him, I know what he can do. And he just, needs to continue to get better and better every week and grow up. He's got a couple young guys around him. The offensive line's a little young. Receivers need to make a little bit more plays. Got a good defense. Running backs have been banged up. Like, this is normal. Right?
Vince Young was having some technical difficulties, but Vince joins us now, and Colt's going to have to get out of here, and we're going to have Colt on. I mean, we got so many stories that we want to get to that we haven't gotten to yet. But Vince,
I was listening.
Vince, I wanted you to get a question into Colt before he has to get going here, because I think your perspective on having Colt underneath you as you're winning a national championship and then seeing what he turns into is so unique as well.
Yeah, just listening to Colt just now, babyface Colt. Man, I just want to say I'm proud of you, man, and thank you for coming on the show. But what you just said is absolutely correct. Like, everybody has to calm down and let the young man grow. It's totally not his fault, everything that's happening to him, me and Colt went through. My freshman year, my redshirt freshman year.
Remember we lost to Oklahoma. Everybody wanted to be like, get Vince Young out of here. He not the guy.
Exactly. It
Yeah, right.
happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the things that I keep saying, and Coach can vouch for this as well, is when you have adversity, all it does is make you work harder, And I've been telling him when I see him every time, man, just always talk about your teammates, man. Just encourage him to just keep helping you and playing well. And, to see that they in these type of situations, just like in the Ohio State game, and for them to not quit on each other and finish these tough games like they have been, it shows how much, like Coach just said, his teammates believe in him, his coaching staff believe in him, and the biggest thing is he believe in himself. And when you have that, what Coach always says, don't worry about what everybody else is saying on the outside. Just worry about everybody inside the locker room. So everything you just said, Coach, you hit right at home. So I remember those days when me and you and Applewhite was up at 7 a.m. We was like, man, we got to get this play down.
Yeah, that's right.
We was in the meetings doing what we had to do to not only make ourselves better, but we wanted to make sure our teammates was better as well. So we had to put in extra work as well. So that's what he's doing, and I'm proud of him.
Well, guys, these two are a lot of the reason that I'm in the Hall of Fame. And I love both of them. They're like stepsons to me, their family. And the amazing thing about both of these guys is they didn't see race. When they were out at parties, they understood everybody had their eyes on them. And they would be the ones that would say, no. Get him out of here. So you talking about leadership in the locker room. You're talking about leadership downtown. You're talking about leadership on Saturday night after a game. You're talking about Thursday night when guys go out at college. These two were absolutely amazing leaders. And everybody on that team believed in them. Offense, defense, everybody, and they believed it. If a guy was drinking too much, one of these would come over and say, come on, time to go. And the guy would go. Or if they'd say, here, let me have your keys. I'm going to drive you home. We're not going to get this. I didn't have to police anything because these guys were that type of leader, and that's why you win. And we got the national championship reunion this weekend with these two guys on the team. And I promise you, if you ask them, about the team, they would go back and say, that guy has to be the guy that everybody looks at every moment. And then these two were up for the Heisman. These two got critiqued hourly. They were beating people so bad, I had to figure out how to keep them in the game or pull them out. Do I put a backup quarterback in, or do I let them play? I don't want to come out, man. I'm good, Coach. Don't get hurt. I'm not going to get hurt. Leave me in. Come on, leave me in. We're ahead 74-0. I'm good. We just need a couple of more drives. I mean, that's what I had to put up with these two. But it was easy to do that since they were way ahead.
It was sure fun, man. I had the opportunity to sit behind, the greatest of all time, Vince Young. That season was incredible. I'll still tell you that national championship game, as awesome, it's the best game I've ever seen to this day. But it also gave me nightmares because I laid up for 6 months saying, I can't ever be Vince Young. I can never do that. I can never do that. There's no chance. But it allowed me to, figure out myself, figure out what my strengths are, figure out what my edge is. And if I'm going to play quarterback here, like, how am I going to make this work? I don't have the skill set Vince has, right? That's God given, and he had more unique abilities than really anybody I've been around. Not only physically, like his ability to relate to guys, his ability to boost the mood all the time, everywhere we went, like his ability to just interact with all of our team and handle the media. Like I got a front row seat to all that from Vince. It was incredible, and I really think it was valuable for me in that it allowed me to figure out who I really am, and if I want to do this, like how can I do it my own way, and that was a big deal for me.
Well, and these two had
did a great job, baby,
without having arrogance, and that was it. And
Did a
Colt,
great
it was
job.
a better pregame talk. We're talking about Soulja Boy events, and we're talking about all those pregame talks I did. The pregame talk with Jerry Springer before the national championship game did work better than Soulja Boy. So I talk better than I dance. Let's just put it that way.
No, you can cut a rug a little bit, Coach.
Vince, what do you remember about Colt from that year? Because I know you're focused on everything that's going on, but you're in that quarterback room with him. What do you remember about him from that year?
Yeah, I mean, just a guy that was just focused at that age. When you come in, 17, 16 years old, you're focused, but you're not focused like to a point. It's like a whirlwind at University of Texas. You got classrooms, 300 students in one class. You got guys are tremendous athletes. You got to just fit in. And one of the things that I like about Colt, he was, like he said, he was gravitating to everything. He wanted to learn. He wanted to work. And at that age, like I said, you don't see that in most guys because you got to push them a little bit. You got to tell them to do it. He was like, no, once I told him, like, hey, just come, let's go to these couple of meetings, or let's meet at this time. Let's get these extra throws in. He was there. So when you got a guy like that, that's hungry, that want to succeed, it's not much you have to tell him, but just to make sure he's there. But the determination for him wanting to win, he already had that. And I was just great to see it because when I told him at the Rose Bowl game, I said, remember this, man, this going to be you. I hope you're ready. Get ready. And he looked at me with his eyes, them baby face eyes, and he just shook his head, and then the rest was history. So I'm proud of him.
Well, and think about how special these two guys are. Vince grew up at Madison High School and goes to the University of Texas, where not a lot of guys that looked like him had been a quarterback, and he made it work. Colt, how many people were in Buffalo Gap?
700.
700. He had more people in his first classroom at Texas than he had in his whole town.
No doubt.
Like I said, Greg Davis said you had to drive back toward Austin to hunt. He lived that far out in the sticks in the country. But these two guys left a comfortable environment that was so different than the one they went into. But that's why they're so good at what they do. They can make everything work. They can make everything work. And that's why I love them so much. They take negatives and turn them into positives. They were always upbeat. They were always great with me. If I said something stupid, they laugh and let it go and then fix it later. So they just that's who they were, and that's why they're such great players.
Well, it's certainly fun to get to hear some of these stories. And Colt, we're going to have you back on soon to tell even more stories.
Okay,
I'm sure Vince and you have some stories from that year together that you can tell that.
Oh yeah,
I probably need to miss that show.
But you're Colt. You've obviously been a real special person for the University of Texas for a long time, and you're just a good dude in general. You've got a great husband, great family man, great friend, and we appreciate you coming on today, and we'll do this again soon.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be awesome. All right.
That's Texas legendary quarterback Colt McCoy. Stay with us. We've got more coming back on the other side. This is The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns, sponsored by Rise Energy Strip. We're back after this.
Football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action.
Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash.
This week on Underdog, I'm looking at two different games. Let's start with Oklahoma at Tennessee, and I think Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar is going to go higher than 263.5 yards passing. We'll move to Georgia Tech. It's trying to stay undefeated at NC State in Raleigh. I think Haynes King is going to go higher than 220.5 yards passing in that game. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code STAMPEDE to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code STAMPEDE. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. From Longhorns to startups, Branded Bills has you covered. Whether you're repping burnt orange pride or building a brand of your own, nothing tells your story like a custom hat. Branded Bills is a proud sponsor of Texas Athletics with licensed Longhorn headwear that holds up from the tailgate to the stadium and through the celebration.
Bob, don't forget the sidelines and the golf course, too.
You know it, Coach. You have to look good to play good.
But Branded Bills doesn't stop there. They specialize in custom headwear that helps teams, companies, and communities showcase who they are with premium fit, finish, and style.
So whether you're a Longhorn fan, a business founder, or just someone who wants to stand out, check out Branded Bills just like mine.
Explore their officially licensed UT collection or design your own custom hat built just for you. Branded Bills, from Longhorns to startups, licensed pride, custom style. You know that feeling when your team wins? It's electric. You're pacing the room, texting your group chat, yelling like you called the game-winning play yourself. Now imagine that winning energy hits right as your DoorDash order arrives. Perfect timing. Drinks are cold, pizza's hot, wings and fries are perfectly crispy. Now you're not just a fan, you're a winner. DoorDash turns every good college football game day into a great one with game day favorites delivered right to your door right when you need them most. So go ahead, ride that high, celebrate the W. Just try not to spike the remote out of excitement when your food shows up. Your team wins, you win. DoorDash delivers the W in food form. Final segment of The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns, sponsored by Rise Energy Strips. Great stuff from Colt McCoy. But you got Vince, you got Colt. Luckiest man on earth.
There's no question.
I don't know what to tell you.
No question.
That's pretty awesome.
It was great. I'm sitting here.
It's great to hear from Colt. I know we're going to get him back on soon because I know he and Vince are going to have some stories they really need to tell, whether you're listening or not.
I need to be off that week.
Yeah. In the meantime, we're going to get to our Underdogs of the week.
And some of it will be true.
They'll
make some up. I know that
20 years later, I bet they embellish a few of these
memories are a weird thing. Vince will say, Cole will say, yeah, remember when Coach said? I said, no, I didn't say that.
We got a whole book for you, Coach.
There's no question. Let me die first.
Y'all need to
Before you
write a
print it.
book for
Then
sure.
I got kids and grandkids and a wife, so they're going to have to listen to that mess too.
It's Mac Brown's favorite segment of the week, our Underdogs of the Week, presented by Underdog Fantasy.
But I'm coming back.
Here comes Coach.
I'm coming back.
Last week he had
like the Texas football team, 2 overtimes here in a row for me.
I'll tell you what, I couldn't remember what you picked. And then when I looked up, he had Marcel Reed lower, and I thought there's no way Marcel Reed lower in a blowout of LSU hit. And it hit Marcel Reed lower than 220.5 yards passing. So Mac moves to 4-7 on the year.
Come back.
Nice little step.
It's the way you finish, not the way you start.
100%. I took a step backwards this week. I had Ty Simpson going higher than 260.5 yards passing. He missed it by 7 yards. I know you know that well.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't matter. A loss is a loss.
Loss is a loss.
So don't make excuses.
So I fall to 8-3. I had to make Vince's pick for him, and I was really proud of this one. I took Arch Manning higher than 214.5 yards passing, and he threw for a career high 346 yards. Vince would have taken it anyway.
Well, that was a no-brainer.
I sent you a text, remember?
Yes, that's right. I did get that text.
Yeah.
Vince moves to 8-2 on the season. Vince is the guy you need to follow. So this week, we've got 3 different games we're all picking from. Coach is going to start us off. You're going to go to Dallas for the Miami SMU showdown.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching LSU and Texas A&M, and Marcel hit 2 long passes to start the game, and I said, "Are you kidding me? You're a runner. You run it more than you throw it. Don't do that." So this week, after SMU loses on the road to Wake Forest last week, they'll be really excited. They've got Carson Beck in Miami after dominating Stanford after a slow first half, after they lost to Louisville. So they've got Carson Beck going to SMU, where Rhett Lashley came from.
Mm-hmm.
He was the offensive coordinator there. And I'm expecting him to go higher than 249.5 yards passing with Miami at SMU.
Now, I got to drop this nugget here because Coach before the show was dropping tidbits about Carson Beck's love life with the Cavender twin. And I didn't know you knew this stuff, so I was very impressed. And he's going to the home of Jake Ferguson, who plays for the Cowboys, who's with a Cavender twin. Carson was with the other Cavender twin.
Do you know
there's no coincidence there.
When people think you're as dumb as I am after being a head coach for 36 years, anytime you come up with a little fact, people are surprised.
I was thoroughly impressed. I'll be honest.
Even at home, when I say something that's halfway intelligent, Sally will say, "How'd you know that?" I said, "I got a brain. I'm not stupid."
That little birdie, you trained that little birdie well.
A little birdie.
Little birdie. Vince Young's going to go to the Georgia Tech NC State game. Vince, who you got?
Yes, I'm going with Haynes King to 20.5. I'm going higher.
Higher for 220.5 yards for Haynes King, who's having a phenomenal
season.
season.
Phenomenal year.
Georgia Tech still undefeated,
nobody's
by the way.
talking about this kid. He's been doing his thing underneath the radar.
He transfers from Texas A&M.
Haynes' dad's a great high school coach out of East Texas.
It's awesome. I love this. This is all the connections coming together. Blake Gideon, the defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, they're undefeated in the top 10. We'll see if they can keep that going this week at NC State. Tough place to play.
Great high school coach here in town.
That's right. That's Steve Gideon. Sure was at Leander. Coach, NC State, tough place to play.
Tough place to play. They've struggled on defense this year, and Georgia Tech's undefeated. So this time of the year, and Vince can tell you, the first part of the year, it's easy to play. You're all excited. This time of the year, you got to be ready to play. The teams that, like, how can Memphis lose to UAB without a coach and then beat USF?
Yeah.
How does that happen? It's all about emotion. It's all the mindset. And the great teams from here on out are going to play great without any excuses. If somebody says you're flat this time of the year, you're not a good team.
Got to dial in, baby.
You got to dial in. And that's the leadership in that locker room of a Vince Young and a Colt McCoy saying, "Come on, guys. It's got to be about you. It's got to be about standard. It can't be about the other team." And that's what Georgia Tech's got to do going into Raleigh.
It starts Saturday with a November to remember. November 1st is Saturday, coming off Halloween night, Friday night. I'm gonna go to Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm gonna take Joey Aguilar, the quarterback at Tennessee, who's having a really good year. They host Oklahoma, whose defense has started to break a little bit, as you saw against Mississippi last weekend. I'm gonna go higher than 263.5 yards for Joey Aguilar against Oklahoma.
I think that's a layup.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. That Oklahoma
Who was it?
defense is pretty
Did
good.
Vince have Joey earlier? One of you had Joey earlier.
No,
and,
no,
oh my
no.
gosh, he
I'm not doing
he threw for
anything
so
with
much.
Tennessee right now because they said that they the real UT, so I'm not doing anything with them
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
now
no.
till we
I
see
got
them.
that.
And
Well,
then, you know,
Joey-
it's 12:07 and OU still sucks. So
Well, Joey played against us at North Carolina when he was Appalachian State for 2 years, and he had a lot more than 249.
Yeah.
So
He's
or whatever it is.
He's having a phenomenal
he
year.
is really good.
He's got some great talent at wide
and a
out,
better
too.
person. He's really a good young person.
Good. Always good to know. See, I always like that.
Yeah.
Another nugget of things we didn't know.
I hated that when he'd get after us like he did. I'd always go shake his hand and say, "Yeah, I hate you, but you're nice." So,
And he'd say, yes, sir.
yeah,
Thank you,
yes,
sir. I
He
appreciate
would
you.
make me feel even worse.
As always, Underdog, make picks, win money. That's what you can do when you follow these guys' picks. All right, let's move on to this big weekend. This November to Remember begins with Texas hosting No. 9 Vanderbilt on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Coach, initial thoughts as this Texas defense tries to stop Diego Pavia. Only threw for 129 yards and an interception last week. Wasn't this Heisman front runner that everybody thinks he is last week at least, and the Texas defense has another chance to shut him down. That, I think, is the most important side of the ball, and that Texas defense trying to slow him down this week.
First thing is we as fans cannot look at Vanderbilt as the old Vanderbilt we've known, because brand names now aren't the only teams that can win if you have money, if you get kids in school, and if you get the right combination of coaching. Indiana, Vanderbilt, Texas Tech. They're all having a chance still to be playoff teams and win at the end. So Vanderbilt coming in here, pressures on Texas. Great opportunity for Texas because Vanderbilt's a top-ranked team, top 10 team. What you can't do is you can't let Diego Pavia run and throw, because he is a competitive player, and he's shorter. So keep him in the pocket, make him throw. You got to have disciplined rushing lanes, and make him throw over 6'3" and 5 guys inside where you can tip some balls. But you can't rush him too much, because that's when he gets. That's like rushing Vince. Best thing we had, somebody blitz Vince and miss. He's gone.
Yeah.
He was gone.
Gone,
Well, that's
gone.
Diego. So don't let him run, and keep him in the pocket, and stop the running game, and make Diego beat you throwing the ball downfield, and lock up with those receivers, because you got better players offensively. So defensively, that's what you've got to do. Offensively, depends on what happens at quarterback, but they I feel like they've had like 23 sacks or something. They're leading the SEC in number of pressures and sacks. They're going to come after you. Clark Lee was the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. We had a 17-17 game in Chapel Hill where we're really good on offense. He shut us down completely the second half. Guy's really good and knows what he's doing. But Texas has got better players. But be smart. Don't give them the ball. Don't give them short fields. They're not going to move the ball against the Texas defense if you make them have the long field. And the other thing, special teams, you got more depth. So therefore you'll be in better condition. And the special teams makes a huge difference when you're fresh and they're not, because most of the guys on special teams are on defense. And lastly, you're at home. You're in DKR. Make DKR a place that is a difference maker. It's 11 o'clock. It doesn't matter. People used to say, well, it's early. God, get up at 6. Get up, eat your breakfast, go run, go work out, but come ready to go.
Get ready.
Go to bed early Saturday night.
Go to bed early Saturday night. We used to tell the students, if you're out all night, just come on to the game. Don't even go to bed. And the national championship, Vince's team is being honored on Saturday, so come and stir the game up. Get these Texas kids. Thank them for the 2 performances that they've pulled out on the road the last 2 weeks, and stir it up and have some fun and make a difference in the game.
42 days away from DKR Texas Memorial as Texas comes home to take on Vanderbilt. Vince, offensively for Texas, what's most important, regardless of if it's Arch Manning or it's Matthew Caldwell on Saturday? And how difficult is it to go through a week where you're trying to figure out, Arch didn't practice Monday, what's next for him, all those kind of things? How difficult is that to be prepared when you go into a game Saturday?
Well, I got to go off what Coach just said. Like, it's this team, Vanderbilt. I went to the game last year in Nashville, and one of the things that was very impressive about this team, they go on long drive. They They go on long drives to keep your offense off the field. And then when you do get on the field, they depend on their defense to make you make a mistake. So this game going to be all about mental game, because it's going to be sometimes it's going to be very frustrating that their offense probably got 22 plays already and you only have 10, because they go on these long, long time consecutive drives, and they want to make
Great
you
point.
mentally frustrated to go out there and try to do something that you're not in your character, and make you turn the ball over and change that momentum back to Vanderbilt so they can give it back to Diego so he can do what he does. So I saw that last year. We were supposed to go down there and just kick their butt, but they kept the ball out of our hands and they made us very frustrated. So as you just said, it doesn't matter what quarterback is playing. Don't be looking for the distractions from outside, this and that. Focus on a team coming in that's playing really well, but they win ball games off your mistakes. You being mentally challenged. So if Texas goes into the game how they finished the last 2 overtimes, not getting flattered and mentally challenged by what the other team is doing, they're going to come out and win this ball game at DKR, what they need to do. So that's my opinion on that one.
And Vince, that's a great point. That's how they beat Alabama.
Yeah, exactly.
Alabama had the ball, then you turn it over. Then you get a sack. And all of a sudden you look up, you're in the fourth quarter and you're down 17-14.
Exactly.
In what people would think is a boring game. The other thing, if Matthew plays, and we're still early in the week, so hopefully Arch will be ready to go well. But if Matthew plays, it's easier as a quarterback to come off the bench.
Yeah.
When you didn't think you were going to play, but you're ready to go and have fun and relax, than it is having a full week to think about every minute of every day how I'm going to play in that game. So it's a whole lot harder, in my estimation, to know you're starting on Monday than it is to come off that bench at the end of the game.
And we talked about that with Arch Manning last year. He comes off the bench against UTSA, has the 67-yard touchdown run. He looks like the greatest player we've ever seen. And then he has to prepare for Louisiana Monroe. Again, not like a great school, but a Louisiana Monroe. He throws a couple interceptions. He doesn't look as good, and you kind of start seeing that stuff. And it's a lot harder, right, Vince?
Well, I believe in Caldwell. I mean, like you said, he's a guy that's been playing. You know, he got some games underneath his belt. And one of the things that I like about it, he's very accurate. He's a very strong quarterback. When I went to practice the other day, I was like, who is this guy? You'd think it's supposed to be the backup quarterback doing this, throwing a ball like that. He was throwing some accurate throws. So I have confidence in him, and him being more of a older guy. I think he's going to handle it well if he does play. We never know what's going to happen, but I have faith in Caldwell.
And we've had this conversation about guys leaving, and you're going to get paid more money to go somewhere else, and should they be able to transfer to all these schools? Well, Matthew Caldwell's the other side of this conversation, because he started at Jacksonville State, went to Gardner-Webb for 2 years, then went to Troy, and was never really the starter. He had to take over at Troy last year. In 4 seasons of college football, he has 21 touchdowns and 15 interceptions.
Exactly.
When he arrives at Texas in May. Didn't even get here in winter. Didn't even get to go through spring ball. And he gets here in May, and he's won the backup job, and now he's got it, throws the winning touchdown against Mississippi State.
And I'm sure he's got a better salary now than he did at Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably a little better than at Gardner-Webb. Well, we'll
He
see
is
how
cheesing right now. He's smiling.
Other thing, just for fans to know, when you go into a concussion protocol, that means you have to go through a battery of tests, and they give you a lot of tests. I said I couldn't pass it before I got a concussion, so it's hard.
It's a long checklist of things you have to go through.
And then after you're cleared, you have to be 48 hours before you can practice. So people now doctors are very, very careful. Trainers, medical staff, very, very careful, as they should be, with concussions. So it is not easy to get back out there. Then if you've got that 48 hours, then you come in and practice. Are you better off practicing a guy on Friday if he's released to play when he hadn't practiced all week, or practice the guy who's practiced all week? That's the other thing that in Vince's position, that head coaches have to make hard decisions. Is Vince ready to go?
Safety is important.
They say he's medically, did he practice?
Yes.
Is it safe for Vince to be out there when he hadn't practiced all week?
Yeah, and that's I know by the time you're probably hearing this or watching this, the decision's probably been made. But this isn't something where they could, and this is a general statement, but this isn't something where they could just clear Arch Manning Saturday morning.
No.
He's got to go through a whole long laundry list of things and he's got to be able to practice Thursday if they're going to be able to play him. So we'll see how this goes and where this turns out. Texas and Vanderbilt, 11 a.m., the number 9 team in the country. This is no longer the Vanderbilt of old. This is a different Vanderbilt, and they're the number 9 team in the country coming to play Texas.
They
Saturday
have better
morning,
running
11
backs
a.m.
now than they did when I was playing, Vince. So if that makes you nervous.
Well,
if I was coming in
Candace,
as a starting tailback, Sark and PK would not be as nervous about that rushing attack.
Vanderbilt legendary running back
went,
Mack Brown.
Candace got a master's at Vanderbilt, so I don't want to hear that mess.
You're not rooting for Vanderbilt, right, Coach?
No.
Okay, just want to be sure.
No.
You went there.
I'm a Texas fan.
Okay.
I went there for a year and a half. I stayed here for 21 years, and I'm back. So you figure out the math.
Well, this has been a show of Longhorn legends. We always appreciate you joining us. Colt McCoy was on the show earlier. Hope you get to take part and listen to that. Vince Young, as always, we appreciate you. And Coach Brown, we appreciate you. Thank you guys for everything you do to make this happen. This is another edition of The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns, sponsored by Rise Energy Strips. We'll see you next week.